One morning, Thomas sat at the junction, waiting for Henry. As he sizzled at the platform, his driver and fireman were talking to the guard. "Did you hear the station master was burgled last night?" said the guard. "Good gracious!" exclaimed the driver. "News to me he had anything worth stealing." "He's won cups for gardening," said the fireman. "All taken, and then the scoundrels had the cheek to pinch his lorry to carry them away in." "Not that new one he's so proud of," cried Thomas. "The very same," the guard nodded. Just then, Henry puffed in. Thomas told him what the guard had said. "Why should we care about a silly old lorry?" snorted Henry. "We engines have much more important things to worry about, like keeping to time." Thomas was cross. "That lorry meant a lot to the station master. I'd be upset if someone stole Annie and Clarabelle." The guard's whistle blew, and Thomas set off. "I'm going to find a way to help," he vowed, but he wasn't sure how. Later that day, Thomas departed with a passenger train bound for the top station. As he journeyed along, a flash of color on the road suddenly sped by. Thomas tried to catch up for a better look. "Steady, Thomas," called his driver. "There's plenty of time." "Can't we get closer to that lorry?" panted Thomas. "It looks like the station master's." "Lots of lorries look like that," chuckled the driver. But he opened the regulator, and Thomas surged forwards. As they drew closer, the fireman peered out of the cab for a better look. "That's the lorry, all right. And there's 2 men inside. They must be the thieves." And he began shoveling coal for dear life. The chase was on. As they approached the next station, the driver began writing a note and placed it inside the fireman's lunchbox. They thundered through the station, and Thomas whistled loudly, startling one of the porters and Daisy. The driver threw the box, and both he and the fireman shouted, "Police!" At the top station, Percy sat waiting for Mavis to deliver a train of stone trucks down from the quarry while chatting to Bertie. At last, Mavis arrived. The three began happily chatting away when they were suddenly interrupted by a distant whistle. "What was that?" asked Mavis. "That sounds like Thomas," puzzled Percy. "I hope he's ready to lose another race," chortled Bertie. But before Percy or Mavis could reply, they saw Thomas and the stolen lorry tearing into the yard, neck and neck. Quickly, Thomas's driver threw on the brakes, and they stopped right across the road. The lorry skidded to a halt, stopped in its tracks. They tried to quickly reverse away, but a police car quickly arrived and the thieves were stopped. Thomas, what's going on? Quizzed Percy. It's the station master's stolen lorry. Those two scoundrels are the thieves that pinched it. Mavis, Percy, and Bertie were impressed with Thomas's prompt actions. The Fat Controller is sure to be pleased with this, grinned Mavis. And indeed, he was. That afternoon, the Fat Controller traveled to the junction with Thomas. He stood on a trolley and told everyone what had happened. They were delighted to hear that the station master's cups had been found in the back of the lorry and had all been returned. A long time ago, Thomas the Tank Engine proved he was invaluable to the running of my railway. I'm sure you will all agree he has once again shown he is a really useful engine.